Do your dolls like to read? This week I'm showing you how to put together the newest creation from Paper Minis. It's a boxed set of books. They've actually got pages. Anne was kind enough to provide this kit for me to put together so that I could show you how fun and easy it is to do. So stay tuned and see how easy this kit is to put together. Well, I thought I'd start out with what you get when you get one of these sets. You get a CD in the mail. When you get the 1/3 scale for the 18-inch dolls, it comes on a CD so you can print it out yourself. But it's super simple. This is really easy. All you need is a computer printer and some paper. So you get the disc, and I like to print out all the pages, and I did print out every page this time so I could show you exactly what's coming on the disc. The home page, as it's called, has some simple instructions. It has the list on the computer screen. When you look at this on the screen, these are links to the pages that you're going to print. And Anne even tells you want to print your book cover interfacing in cardstock. You want to do the storage box in a cardstock thickness matte paper. You want lightweight matte paper for these pages. It's all spelled out so you know exactly what you're doing. Also on this page, on page 2 of the home page, is a good full color photograph showing the completed book set. So you can see what you're getting. I like having these on hand. Alright, another thing that Anne includes is a printed tutorial. So you've got the steps right here. I'm going to show you how I put the books together. My technique is slightly different than Anne has on here, but not a lot. It's just what works for me. And you'll find after you put a couple of these kits together what works for you. So that's here. You can print that out to use as a reference. Then we have the fun stuff. We have our 4 books. So Little Miss Muffet. There's 3 pages to this book. We have page 1, and this is the only book in the set that actually has the words in it. It's a readable book. Got those. You've got the dust jacket, and you've got the cover. So that's Little Miss Muffet, and I'm keeping mine paper clipped together so I keep everything straight. We have Hey Diddle Diddle, which it's on 2 pages. You've got the dust jacket, the cover, and the pages. You have Jack and the Beanstalk. Again, I want to keep mine clipped together so that I know what I'm doing. I don't want to get mixed up when I go to assemble my books. Jack and the Beanstalk. Another 2-page. Wonderful old style illustrations with the 3 bears. Then we have a couple more pages. We have out of cardstock, we print the box. These books have a storage box to protect them, and it makes a nice box set of books. It's called the McLaughlin Brothers Classic Collection. Really cool. And then this page is the cover interfacing, and that's what gives the book covers their stability. It makes them feel like a real book. So let me get this put off to the side. I'll get out my stuff, and we'll start with our first book. Alright, I'm only going to put together 1 book on camera. I'll do the other 3 off camera because it's just the same steps over and over again. But this way you can see how it goes together. So I have my book. I'm going to put together the 3 bears. So the first thing I want to do is I like to score before I cut. And I know I need to score on these gray lines that go up this way on this page. So rather than a metal straight edge, I like to use my quilting ruler. I have several extra quilting rulers around, and for me they work really well if I can get it worked around the camera. My space is a little more cramped when I am taping. Now, I like to use a dental pick. I like to use the back side of it to score. And I'm just holding it like a pencil and just drawing up that line. I have a little too much stuff in my way here. I'm being very careful to line this up. And normally I would have my head right here so I could double check that I had everything lined up. Just want to make sure that you score, and we're scoring everywhere that we're going to fold. I'm going to score down here. I love the illustrations in these books. They are just gorgeous. And this book set really could go for a lot of different time periods. If your dolls are modern, they're great. I know my daughter used to have, she loved books. And she had a lot of books that had like retro style designs in them, so she would have loved this when she was a little girl. So now, all right, it's our last line that we need to score. Now, put this where I can find it. Now I have a self-healing cutting mat here. My ruler's not quite as long as my what I need to cut, but that's okay. I've got a knife with a nice fresh blade on it. I'm going to line my ruler up with my cutting line and hold it really tight. You don't want to have this slide on you. Slide it. I'm off just a little bit, but I'm off to the outside of my line, not to the inside. You can always cut off more, you can't put it back. Just a tiny bit there. There. Now, that one's cut out. That line's cut. Now, if you work in smaller scales, Anne also has this same book set available in pre-printed kits for Barbie and for the 1/12 scale dollhouse size. So those would be really nice too. Now we're going to line this up and cut. And my ruler slid just a little bit, so I need to, and that happens, just go back and cut off what didn't get cut off. I don't mind so much if I cut too big. It's on those occasions when you cut too small. And I do like the 1/3 scale where it comes on the disc, because I am lucky I have a good printer. In fact, I just had to buy a new printer because my old one died. But it takes the pressure out. There's been a couple of times when I've bought the smaller scale kits and I've messed something up and then I'm kind of out. Alright, so we're going to cut the ends off. Now, in order to make this long enough, we have to glue it together. We've got one more piece to this panel, so I have to make sure that I get everything in the right order. Get this one cut free. let's score page 2. So we've got the rest of our pages. Gonna line that up so I can score it. And normally I would probably go through and score all of my pages at once and then come back and cut, but because I'm doing this on camera, I'm going to do it one page at a time. Now we need to score this one. This is our dust jacket. Let's see if I can get that out in one word. So I see that there's a folding line here, and then we'll fold right at the edge of that red line. And then right at the edge of the picture again. And then we have the cover to the book. We'll have to score it also. Find my line. I'll figure out where that line is in a little bit. I'll have to do that off camera because I can't find it while I'm sitting here. Oops. All right, I'll score this one off camera. I'm going to have to figure out exactly where that line is. I can't see it without putting my face right over it. All right, now we're going to cut this piece out. We have the end boards on the ends so we can tell which one goes where. Now, one more cut and we'll have these pages all free. Now, I'm going to put this off to the side for a moment. I like to start by folding everything before I start gluing. Make sure you've got everything folded straight. And you're accordion folding. And you know, let me get back. I'm actually folded backwards right now, and I'll show you how I know that. But that's because I like to start with the fold that way. So this one needs to fold this way when we're finished. But I like to fold them both ways before I'm done. And now it's a good time to double check that everything's nice and square. Alright, so now we need to glue our sections together. I like to have a piece of paper. I actually like to use parchment paper underneath when I'm spreading glue. So first let's figure out what goes where. Well, this is an end paper, so we know that goes here. Goes at the end of the book. This one goes at the beginning of the book. So this is the middle of our book. So we need our glue stick, which is right here. And we're going to apply glue to this area. To this tab. I like this one that's purple when it goes on and dries clear because that way I know I've got the whole area glued. All right. And burnish it down with your finger. Make a nice tight fit there. Now, let's get glue on this panel. And I do like to let this set up for a couple of minutes while the glue dries. So what I would like to do is cap this glue and cut out my covers. Make sure everything's lined up. Look at it from all directions like I'm off there just a little bit. There we go. Looks like I cut that just a little bit crooked. So I'm going to fix that really quickly and easily. Retrieving my ruler that fell all the way to the floor. But this is a good time to double check that you've got everything cut just the way you want it. There. Now it's cut the way I want it. Now I want this to dry for a few minutes. I don't want that glue to slide around on me. But I still have these to cut out. So, I'm going to cut out the dust jacket. And it seems like when you look at the directions, yeah, it looks like a lot of steps, but they're all really easy steps, and they're really well explained. And hopefully by watching the video, it helps too. I'm hoping that I'm helping you out here. Off to the side, cut out our cover, which I still need to figure out where I need to score that at, but I can score that part later, doesn't matter. And I like to do the 4 sides and then do the angled ends after I cut the long sides. And if you don't have a straight edge and a knife, you could do these with scissors. It's just quicker and easier, and for me, a little more accurate to use the knife and the straight edge. But if you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and use scissors. It's not the end of the world. This is supposed to be fun, and it is. I love putting together books, and it's so neat to have books that have pages that work. That's all done. Oh, we got one more page to cut out though, because we need our Three Bears cover interfacing before we get too much further too. I haven't checked for sure, but it looks to me like all of these pieces on this sheet are all the same size. I'm sure they would be. Oopsie. Alright, so I'm going to allow my glue to dry a little more, and then I'll come back and we'll do the next step. Alright, so my glue is dry. It's dry enough to work with now. Nothing's going to slide around, so I'm going to make sure everything is folded nicely. Everything's folding up nice and square. So now we don't want to put glue on these pages. We're going to start here. And I don't like to work with the whole thing at once. I find my glue gets dry. So I cap my glue again. And I'm going to put on, and you want a generous amount of glue. I like to work on top of a piece of paper because then I don't get glue all over my work surface. And I can just turn this paper and use a different place. rather than getting glue all over the fronts too. Alright, now move this up over here and do some more. We're just going to continue down, being careful not to get glue there yet, because we don't need glue there yet. Sometimes, if it's not too warm in the house and I'm not working under camera lights, I can do more than just the one page worth at a time. But with my lights on to do the video, it dries my glue out quite quickly. So I find on camera it's best to just do the one page area at a time. Now that side's dry again, so I can move back over there. Everything nice and sealed together. I've just got the one more page to do. Remember, we're not going past that fold. You got that last fold there. I'm trying my best to keep this in camera. I'm hoping I am. I think that's a universal problem for those of us that do YouTube videos that are by ourselves doing it, because it's hard to look here and in the monitor to see if we're getting it all in screen. Now make sure that everything is to your liking. And I like to double check that I don't have any purple glue spots. Like I've got a little glue there. Now if you find you've got glue in here, I like to have a little bit of wax paper on hand. I've got some sheets of wax paper I was using to glue something else the other day. And also, if your paper on your pages is a little on the thin side, like I can feel the pages feel a little damp from the glue. So what I like to do in that case is just get a little bit of wax paper. Keep those end pages open. Stick some wax paper in between the pages. This helps a little bit. It kind of guarantees that I'm not going to end up accidentally gluing my book together. Because I've done that before. Get all the way done and then go to open it and oh crap, I've glued my pages together. This way, that doesn't happen. That one is not really an issue. So now we're going to clamp this. But what I like to do, I like to put a couple of wide craft sticks before I clamp. Now make sure that you've got the open pages this way, because we're going to run some glue along this edge. Now, let's see if I can juggle this. Now, we're going to first glue it here. And then, if we clamp these together, oops, back a little further. I want the edge sticking out just a little bit. If I clamp these, I don't make clamp marks on my book. Okay, so now we've got the nice edge there. We are going to find some tacky glue. I'm going to run a bead of tacky glue right along this edge. We're going to run some more in a little bit, but this is going to help with binding our book. Now, set this off to the side. Now it's time to get our book cover ready. So we've got the cover interfacing, and we've got our cover. And I found the line to score. So, my paper out again. And once again, I want to cover this in blue. Out of my way. And now, we've already pre-folded our cover. So make sure that everything is lining up just the way you want it. Make sure everything is folding up. Yep, just right. Alright, now I'm going to put some tacky glue to put those ends down because I don't want those to come up. So I put some tacky glue off to the side of my tray, and I've got toothpicks. If I know I'm going to be gluing, I try to remember to get the toothpicks out. Brush some tacky glue over these flaps. This will hold a little better than the glue stick, or long term, and I didn't get enough. I didn't want to put out too much, but I needed enough. And tacky glue, if you leave it like this open for a few seconds after you spread it, it actually gets stickier and it will stick a little bit better than if you glue it down right away. All right, now those down, that down. I had glue on my finger. All right, now let's let this dry for a little bit. I'm going to try and fold it along its fold lines before it dries too much, but now I want that glue to dry, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I've pre-creased my cover. And the glue is not completely dry, but it's set up. In fact, this is still somewhat wet. Now, I'm too impatient to wait for this to dry all the way. So we're going to put the book in here. First, we need to figure out which is the front and which is the back of the book. So this is the back of the book. I'm actually going to put a B here. I'm also going to take my book cover and put a B here. These will be covered up by each other. That way I don't glue. Can you tell I've glued a book together upside down before? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put the book together. You're going to center top to bottom, and you're going to glue this end paper like that. And you're going to glue this one like this, keeping that all nice. That did not cover very well. You'll glue yours better than I did, but the book jacket will cover it. All right, so I think, so make sure you're very comfortable with where everything goes. Because once you glue this together, there's no going back. All right. I'm going to run another bead of glue right here. And I need more glue that's fresh. Now we're going to basically cover this end sheet. All right. Yeah. We're going to use our fingers to burnish this down. Now we're going to go to the front. We're going to do the same thing. Make sure the glue goes all the way to the edge. So another advantage of having the wax paper in there is if your glue comes off the edge, it won't glue to the next page. Now, make sure it's right where you want it. Oops, I'm knocking things on the floor. That could be a little straighter. And we're there. So I'm going to put a piece of wax paper here. Do I have a piece of wax paper in here anymore? No, I don't. Just in case any of that glue seeps out. It probably won't, but I've had it happen in the past. And I'd rather put the wax paper in there and not need it than not put it in and come back and have my book glued together. Now what I like to do is, once again, put these like this and clamp it. By putting the jumbo craft stick there, I'm not making marks on my cover with my clips. Now I want this glue to set up completely. So I'm talking like probably overnight before I'll unclamp this. And I may even find another set of sticks and clips and go just past there. Not on the binding itself, but just inside. I don't think we can over clamp this, because I want it to be completely together. Now, put it off to the side. And by the way, these clamps, I buy these at Dollar Tree. So they're really inexpensive and they're so handy to have in your workshop. This needs to dry. So I think what I'm going to do now is I am going to clean up my mess and get out the stuff to make the box that these books go in. And let's work on that. Then we'll come back and see all the books together at the end. Alright, so while that glue is drying, let's go ahead and build the storage box. I've misplaced my good dental pick, so I will use this one. So once again, we are going to score on all the fold lines. Yeah, I keep thinking back to when my daughter was a little girl. She loved to read. All but one of my kids loves reading. But she was really the book hound. And she loved when she got books that came in these storage boxes like this. Those were her very favorites. Hopefully I'm hitting all my score lines where they're supposed to be. It's hard to tell on camera because I let you guys have the good view straight down. I'm looking at it from clear over here. Put that one away. Hopefully I'll be able to find it later. Now, let's cut this guy out. Oops, that was way off. Luckily it was way off, out, away. That's somewhat better. Now I'm going to cut this from there out. If you don't have a self-healing mat like I've got under here, an old magazine works pretty well too. I've cut many a project out on top of an old magazine. Don't use the top of your good table though. That would not be good. It's a little outside, but that'll be okay because that'll be hidden. The places you need to be really careful where you cut on this are these lines on here. The rest, these are going to be folded in. Get this all free, and then I can start folding on the score lines. If my scissors got put away last time, my little ones. Okay, I'll use my knife to cut this out. We need to cut this down. I think I took my scissors out to my other table to work on another project so that I could film in here. I've got way too many projects going right now, I think. But these are cut in so that they'll fit without wrinkling. Oops. If you find that your knife is not cutting a nice sharp line, be sure and get a fresh blade, because paper dulls your blades really quickly. Alright, now we have this all cut out. So now let's pre-fold it before we get the glue out. I'm just going to fold here and here, here and here. Alright, so let's kind of dry fit this. It's going to go like this. These edges are going to fold down at the very end. These tabs are going to attach like this. So, alright, so it's going to go something like this. So I think our first step will be to put glue on these tabs and get this all glued together. So I'm going to put some fresh glue out on my tile. I don't like to go straight from the glue bottle onto my project. Now we're only going to put glue on these 4 tabs right now. And I'm using tacky glue rather than the glue stick because it will hold better. Oh, I almost guessed that amount of glue perfectly. I'm just shy a little bit. All right, now we don't want to get these tabs glued down yet. The advantage to tacky glue is that it is just that, it's tacky, so it will hold pretty quickly on this paper. Now this paper is, that I printed this part on, is simply cardstock from the craft store. It's just regular weight cardstock. I chose not, you could have used photo paper, but photo paper doesn't glue as well. Alright, sorry about that. My camera decided to just shut off randomly. As I was saying, this is printed just on cardstock. I chose cardstock because it glues together better. Sometimes I've had trouble with photo paper holding the glue. It just doesn't want to stick. So now this is set up nicely, since I had to get my camera back on track. So now we can glue these flaps back, and that's going to make the front of the box nice and strong. So I'm just going to run some glue here, and I want to get it all the way to the edges. And since we already creased this, it should stay just fine. Other one. And now you'll want to make sure that this is completely dry before you tuck your books into it, because if this glue is at all tacky still, you'll glue your books into the sleeve. So we're just going to tuck that in. I'm going to use my finger, and I'm just going to burnish it down. I want to really make good contact there and make that really flat and make it stay. So that's all done. This needs to dry. My book I already put together needs to dry. And I'm going to go off, and off camera I'm going to put together the other 3 books. When all my glue is dry, which I would imagine for me will be tomorrow, for you it'll be just a few seconds from now, I'll come back and I'll show you how all of these look together and how they fit in this sleeve. Alright, so these have all been sitting. This is actually the next day from when I filmed the earlier part of the video. I finished up the other 3 books and everything has dried. So first I'm going to show you the box. It comes out really cool. It's nice and stiff on the front because of the double edge. So that's all ready. So now let's just pop off these clamps and see what we've got. I'm going to take all the clamps off first, then and these clamps and the jumbo popsicle sticks or jumbo craft sticks, they're like standard equipment at my work table. They're some inexpensive items to have on hand that just make your job a lot easier when you're trying to craft, no matter what you're making. Alright, so these are done now. So let's open up, we can take out all our wax paper. But the wax paper's there just in case any glue, like I did stick to that one piece of wax paper there, and that wax paper was stuck just a little bit. But the wax paper will let go where if the pages were glued together they wouldn't. Now let's match our cover up. Put our dust cover on, dust jacket. There we have a beautiful book. Let's get Jack and the Beanstalk opened up. The process of putting these books together, it's not difficult, but it is time consuming and you do have to wait for the glue to dry. So allow yourself some time. I have a little bit of glue there, that's fine. Got a pair of scissors here. I can just kind of, I don't know what I did with my good scissors, so well, I will have to clip that when I get my good scissors out. So Jack and the Beanstalk. Put that in its dust cover. And once these dust covers have been on for a while, they will stay a lot better. Or you could glue them on if you wanted to. Little Miss Muffet. And this one, there's lots, it's a readable book. You've got the words to it, to the rhymes and everything. You can see I was having a little trouble pulling that wax paper out because it did attach, but the wax paper will come out and not hurt anything, where the if I would have glued the pages together, that would have not been good. This one is just, you might have to pull them apart a little bit. The first time you open it up, it's going to be, you know, maybe a little sticky. The artwork in here is just gorgeous. So cool. There we go. And put Hey Diddle Diddle in its jacket. And slide them all in. Let's see. Hey Diddle Diddle. I'm trying to put them in the order it is on the box, on the back of the thing. Jack and the Beanstalk. And Little Miss Muffet. And there you have a boxed set of books that open. They're so cool. I hope you give this kit a try. Be sure and let Anne know that you heard about this on my blog or my video, and let us know that you enjoyed it. And I want to thank Anne again for providing this so that I could put it together for you. Be sure and check the blog post for the links to Anne's site. Come over by the Facebook page and share the pictures of what you're making with me. I love to see what you're doing. Until next time, have fun with your dolls, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.